Previously on this channel, we've traced some stages of development of the Muslim polemic of biblical corruption. It began with a primitive polemic in the early commentaries. For example, Muhammad's description isn't in the prior scriptures, but the Quran claims that it is, which means, of course, that they must have been tampered with and the description removed. But overall, it was believed that the prior scriptures were intact. However, as time went on, more problems arose as the actual contents of the Torah and Gospel became well known throughout the Muslim world. The primitive polemic, which focused on Muhammad being removed from the earlier scriptures, had to be expanded to account for the differences between the Quran and the prior scriptures, which continued to accumulate. These polemics developed in spite of the fact that the Quran has nothing but praise and respect for the Torah and Gospel. We can trace this polemic into the modern period, where we encounter a very disappointing claim Muslim polemicists make on this issue. The claim I now hear very frequently is that the Quran's Torah and Gospel are effectively phantoms of history. That is, they appeared at some time and place and subsequently disappeared without leaving a trace. We have no idea what happened to the Torah and Gospel that the Quran is talking about. The only thing we can be certain of is that no evidence of the phantom Torah and Gospel remains that can contradict the Quran. The phantom explanation is disappointing for a number of reasons. The first is that it's clearly an ad hoc product of yet another stage of the biblical corruption polemic, since there is no actual evidence for this claim. The purpose of this explanation is to protect the Quran's claims about the prior scriptures from error. The second reason this claim is disappointing is that it's intended to be unfalsifiable. It's very easy to say that the Torah and Gospel of the Quran are historical apparitions, appearing for a time only in the Quran and then disappearing permanently and mysteriously from the scene. But all this does is posit an unprovable hypothesis that superficially exonerates the Quran from contradiction, but it's at the expense of cutting off any attempts at honest, thoughtful investigation into questions regarding the Quran's claimed versus actual relationship to the prior scriptures. Third, the Quran does not regard the Torah and Gospel as phantoms of history. This should be the most substantial point for Muslims, so we'll spend some time demonstrating it. Surah 568 shows how well known the Torah and Gospel are. The people who follow them are known by the phrase, people of the book. The audience of the Quran is assumed to know of these people and know of the prominence of the Torah and Gospel. No explanation of or clarification about these people or the Torah and Gospel is needed. Surah 7:157 appeals to the Torah and Gospel as a textual witness to the messenger. Clearly, the Torah and Gospel, taken to be self-evident references for the audience of the Quran, are both known and authoritative in ascertaining the legitimacy of the Quran's messenger. Prior to the Quran, of course, the Torah was widely associated with Moses for both Jews and Christians. The Quran seems to grant this association as well. Surah 6:155 through 156 refers to sending down the book to two contingents of people, most plausibly the Jews and the Christians, both of whom understood the Torah to come from Moses. Surah 691 describes a book which was sent down to Moses containing light and guidance. In Surah 544, the Torah is described the same way, containing both guidance and light. This parallel is hard to miss and strongly implies the book sent down to the Quranic Moses is the Torah, a connection explicitly made in the Hadith. In these verses and others, like Surah 253 and 287, it seems nearly certain that the original audience of the Quran would have understood the book given to Moses to be synonymous with the Torah. Surah 28 gives a glowing endorsement of the book given to Moses, putting it together with the messenger's recitations. Yet when the truth did come to them from us, they said, if only he were given the same as what Moses was given. Did they not disbelieve in what was given to Moses before? They said, two magic tricks supporting each other. And they said, surely we are disbelievers in all of it. Say, bring a book from God that is a better guide than these two, referring to the book of Moses and the Quran's recitations. I shall follow it if you are truthful. Additionally, the Quran makes a direct connection between the Torah, used in parallel with the book of God, and the Hebrew prophets. Surely we sent down the Torah containing guidance and light. By means of it, the prophets who had submitted rendered judgment for those who were Jews. The Torah was still extant at the time of Jesus when the gospel was given, according to verses such as Surah 61:6 and 5:46. And as we've already seen, verses like Surah 7:157 claim the Torah and gospel are extant witnesses, available and well known at the time of the Quran. Other verses like Surah 393 can be added. Say, bring the Torah and read it, if you are truthful. Finally, the Torah and Gospel are far from being outdated, according to the Quran, as numerous verses show. You who have been given the book, believe in what we have sent down, confirming what is with you. You who believe in God and His messenger, and the book He has sent down on His messenger, and the book which He sent down before this. Yet how will they make you their judge, when they have the Torah containing the judgment of God, and then turn away after that? Surely we sent down the Torah containing guidance and light. Whoever does not judge by what God has sent down, they are the disbelievers. Alternatively, whoever does not judge by what God has sent down, they are the evildoers. And in their footsteps we followed up with Jesus, son of Mary, confirming what was with him of the Torah, and we gave him the gospel containing guidance and light, and confirming what was with him of the Torah, and as guidance and admonition to the ones who guard themselves. So let the people of the gospel judge by what God has sent down in it. Whoever does not judge by what God has sent down, they are the wicked. And we have sent down to you the book with the truth, confirming what was with him of the book, and as a preserver of it. People of the book, you are standing on nothing until you observe the Torah and the gospel. The messenger is supposed to be written in the Torah and gospel, and if you are in doubt about what we have sent down to you, ask those who have been reciting the book before you. Clearly, the Quran believes the Torah and Gospel are enduring and valid, and none of the Quranic verses which endorse the Torah and Gospel or present them as a witness to the Quran's messenger are ever abrogated in the Quran. Nothing in the Quran hints that these verses should not still be valid today. Observations we've made so far. The Torah and Gospel are well known to the audience of the Quran, as are the people of the book. The Quran appeals to the Torah and Gospel as material witnesses to its messenger. The Torah, apparently given to the Quranic Moses and certainly used for judgment by the Hebrew prophets, is also extant both at the time of Jesus and the revelation of the Quran. The Gospel is extant from the time of Jesus to the revelation of the Quran, and verses that endorse the enduring validity of the Torah and Gospel are not abrogated. So the Quran clearly affirms the historical continuity of the Torah from the ancient Hebrew prophets to Jesus. It further affirms the historical continuity of the Torah and Gospel from the time of Jesus to the revelation of the Quran. Far from being historical phantoms, the Quran presents the Torah and Gospel as being prominent fixtures on the stage of history for many centuries. Likewise, the early commentators did not appeal to a phantom Torah or Gospel. They understood them to be written scriptures of the Jews and the Christians. For example, in Surah 279, Makal wrote that the unidentified those in the verse are the chiefs of the Jews of Medina. They erased the description of Islam's messenger from the Torah, according to Makal, and wrote something other than his description. The Jewish leaders then told the false description to the other Jews. What their hands have written, Makal wrote, is the alteration of the description of Muhammad in the Torah. Makal understood the Torah to be a written book in the possession of the Jews in Medina at the time of Muhammad. Likewise, the Sirah literature does not appeal to a phantom Torah or Gospel. For example, when the apostle gave judgment about them, he asked for a Torah. A rabbi sat there reading it, having put his hand over the verse of stoning. Abdullah bin Salam struck the rabbi's hand, saying, "This, O prophet of God, is the verse of stoning, which he refuses to read to you." With respect to the Gospel, we read, "Among the things which have reached me about what Jesus the Son of Mary stated in the Gospel which he received from God for the followers of the Gospel, in applying a term to describe the Apostle of God is the following. It is extracted from what John the Apostle set down for them when he wrote the Gospel for them from the testament of Jesus, son of Mary. Likewise, the Hadith literature does not appeal to a phantom Torah or gospel. For example, the Torah was brought to Muhammad. He claimed to believe in it and judge by it. These are very well-known narrations. You can pause the video and read them if you like. The gospel is also clearly extant at the time of Muhammad, according to the Hadith. Waraka had been converted to Christianity in the pre-Islamic period and used to write Arabic and write of the gospel in Arabic, as much as Allah wished him to write. Let's summarize. Far from being historical phantoms, the Quran presents the Torah and Gospel as existing prominently on the stage of history for many centuries. Early commentary on the Quran, Sirah literature, and Hadith assume the Torah and Gospel are tangible, intact books in the possession of the Jews and the Christians. The Quran's phantom Torah and Gospel is simply another confused product of the Muslim polemic of biblical corruption. The early commentaries, Sirah and Hadith, allow us to see how modern Muslim polemicists' appeals to a phantom Torah and Gospel are completely in contradiction with both their own sources and with what we know from non-Islamic history of the scriptures of the Jews and the Christians. As we've also seen, appeals to a phantom Torah and Gospel are contradicted by the Quran, which associates the Torah with the Hebrew prophets, the Gospel with Jesus, and therefore describes their presence throughout history, as well as the enduring validity of these books. The fact that the Quran does not show substantial familiarity with the Torah of Moses or the Gospel of Jesus, and frequently disagrees with them, is no reason for Muslims to posit careless, ad hoc explanations, such as the phantom Torah and Gospel. Rather, the problem of the Quran's claimed relationship with the prior scriptures, differing from its actual relationship to them, deserves more careful and intellectually responsible consideration from our Muslim friends. Some scholars have specialized in studying the evolution of the Muslim polemic of biblical corruption. One of them is Dr. Gordon Nickel. Check out my interview with him here. For a transcript of this video, see the free resource in the pinned comment. Thanks for watching.